This episode of Going in Raw is sponsored by Liquid IV. Summer is jam-packed and the heat can be no joke, which means summertime is also the time to prioritize hydration. And Liquid IV delivers an optimized ratio of electrolytes, vitamins, and nutrients, which turns ordinary water into extraordinary hydration.
With 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink and 8 vitamins and nutrients, Liquid IV is your perfect companion this summer, whether you're working out, chilling poolside, or hydrating after a night out.
So tear, pour, and live more and turn your ordinary water into extraordinary hydration with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code RAW at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code RAW at liquidiv.com. Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to. It's our WWE Clash at the Castle 2024 review. A new WWE World Heavyweight Championship was not crowned. Champion, I should say, was not crowned tonight. CM Punk showed up after a ref bump and royally screwed Drew McIntyre over in Glasgow. Lots of people were saying in advance of this, especially once it was known that Punk was in Scotland, he was taking pictures of all sorts of fans.
Yeah.
That he could interfere. But on the other side of things, Judgment Day, although they've been banned from ringside, we all know Carlito's not necessarily a full-fledged member. Liv Morgan's out there. A lot of X factors here. I was surprised, but god damn it, I loved that angle because this feud between Drew and Punk is feud of the year material. And I don't know how and where and why and how this is going to get blown off. But once Punk is, and I hope to God that he doesn't suffer any more injuries, because this is really, really, really good stuff, Larson.
Yeah, you'd think, assuming Punk is on schedule to be cleared soon-ish, if he hasn't been already, this is going to happen this SummerSlam.
Yeah, absolutely.
Drew and Punk. I mean, it's the way they've been building the bout. If they want to make SummerSlam effectively the summer WrestleMania, it makes all the sense. Then you'll have Gunther taking on Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship. Gunther wins the belt there. He's your World Heavyweight Champion. Cody could face Solo. Saw that tease tonight. Could face Randy Orton, returning Roman Reigns. There's a lot of possibilities there for 3 of your headline matches. It was. I believe Maggie said during our watch along towards the tail end of it that if you had said that of all the Scots in action tonight, that Alba and Isla would be the ones walking away winners.
Yeah.
I would have been pretty surprised, but that's exactly what happened.
Right.
When we did our predictions, I initially picked Damian Priest because of a situation like this. There's a lot of variables in play that could actively work against Drew McIntyre in winning the title. But at the end, I was like, I didn't see Alba and Isla winning. I didn't see Piper winning. Drew would have to win then. And no, it didn't happen. They stuck to the story rather than the pop. And in the long run, that's the right move. You tell the stories you're going to tell.
Dude, I think that I think that they probably, you're absolutely right. You stick to the story that you're telling. Drew McIntyre just re-signed with the company. I have no doubt in my mind that Drew probably loves this, because this is, you want an A story on Raw. This is it, and it doesn't even need the title. And the fact that they've been telling this, and Drew McIntyre, from a performance standpoint, understands just what this does, the power of just a really damn good feud. And he is do you remember when Punk first came back and Seth made a big stink about it on camera? I'm sorry. In front of everybody so that the fan cameras could pick it up. But there was that report that Drew McIntyre was pissed off and we don't know if he's coming back.
Yeah.
And I still have no idea what the deal with that was. But from the moment Punk came back, I understand, Punk versus Rollins is supposed to be the thing. But Drew McIntyre, again, I have no idea if this was of his own volition or whatever, but he smelled the money that was to be made here, and that's what's happening. Those guys together have built this thing, and to watch that Glasgow crowd just absolutely be furious over this finish.
Yeah.
That's the stuff, man. These are the moments that you make when you're on the road during this feud, and there's so much stuff that they can get out of it. And yeah, you stick to the story because that's the good stuff. Now, I mean, a case could be made that they could still tell a feud of the year level story with Drew winning here, but to have Punk screw over Drew after all this press that he's done and all these videos, and you see everything that's been going on over the weekend with Drew in Glasgow, with Drew in Scotland, how do you not do something with this level of heat behind it? And it didn't come off as, I don't think that this comes off as too much. I just think this comes off as two guys who fucking hate each other.
Yeah.
And eventually we get to see them in the ring. And when that match happens, you think this had big match feel. That's going to have big match feel.
Huge match feel. One thing I find interesting about the finish is that you could easily make the argument that every time Drew has come up short in his previous title matches, it's because of something he did. It was his fault. Either he put too much pressure on himself because someone kicked out the Claymore. At WrestleMania, he took his eye off his moment to taunt Punk. Drew didn't do anything here. He got screwed.
He did. Yeah.
By Punk. It wasn't a mistake on Drew McIntyre's part.
Nope.
Priest kicks out of the Claymore. Drew takes a moment to get over it and gets right back to the match. Yeah. He didn't freak out. He maintained his composure.
Yeah.
It was just a random ref bump, and Punk screws him.
Yeah.
So now we got Drew McIntyre out there making good points.
Yeah.
It's not him being delusional so much. It's him coming out and telling the truth. CM Punk, you cost me this match.
Yeah.
You cost me my moment. You cost me this title. And in terms of the heat level, that just got turned up quite a bit.
It did. Yeah. And the TV direction was excellent.
So yeah, it's not very, so usually when they have another ref run in after a ref bump, they don't go to a really wide shot where you don't see the ref at all. You just see the top of their head running down the ramp, and they slide in the ring, and you usually see them sliding into the ring, so you get the action. You see Punk slide into the ring in the foreground, but you don't see his face, and you see his hair, and you see that he's wearing Jordans. Refs don't wear Jordans.
Yeah, right.
You know who it is.
Yeah.
And it isn't until Punk stops the count and Drew looks over at him, and you get to see Drew's expression at first. It's like, oh shit, CM Punk is here. Oh shit, CM Punk is here. It's
right,
shock,
yeah.
and then just, oh hell.
Yeah.
And then they cut to Punk.
Yeah. And he does, and I love the double meaning. He counts two because the European or the UK middle finger is the two fingers up, and he doesn't do this. He does this with a big smile on his face, wearing a medium ref shirt. And by the way, shout out to WWE Social. And these are the details that just make it so much better. Is they have video of him watching the match backstage, and when the ref bump happens, he runs to Jess, the ref, and says, "Hey, do you have an extra shirt?" And she's like, "Why? Don't worry about it." And he puts it on and he goes out there. You get the whole story. And that's what this new era of WWE is. It's attention to detail. It's TV direction that shows you the scope of these characters. And on top of that, it leads you to see the reaction. It takes you on the journey of the reaction of the performer. When you mentioned Drew looking up and seeing CM Punk and realizing what that means. And then Punk to punctuate that it's not Drew's fault this time. Punk straight up low blows the guy. There's no ambiguity. Punk fucked him over. So, man, oh man, I thought, and I know I'm curious to see what the general consensus is going to be, if there is one.
Yeah.
what the debate's going to be online, et cetera, et cetera. But for this guy anyways, and obviously for you as well, I thought the execution was so absolutely perfect. And it's one thing, dude. It's one thing to have Drew lose in Scotland to Roman Reigns when Roman is on an epic run. And if you remember, even back then, you and I were like, "Woo, Drew
Yeah.
could win here." And then once he didn't, it became obvious that it was Roman. You know, it was like, okay,
Yeah.
this is going to go on for a long time. But to get us to the point where it's like, oh, dude, of course, this is going to happen to him twice in Scotland. And yeah, you said, that there was a good possibility Priest could win with all the X factors out there. Yeah, absolutely. But the way they built this in the last 48 hours, Judgment Day not at ringside, and for Punk to show up in that referee shirt, the way they framed it, just absolutely wonderful. I thought it was a great story beat.
Yeah, it was really well done. Really well done. Also in the main event, we had a scary moment where Damian Priest is looking for a step up tope, and his ankle got twisted up in the ropes when he was leaping over the top. And either he got hurt or he did a masterful job selling a knee injury. And hopefully it's the latter and he's not hurt, or if he's hurt, it's nothing severe. He and Drew had a hell of a match, and it'd be a bummer for him to come out the victor in his first pay-per-view main event for the title, but also come out of it with a severe injury. So hopefully he's fine. If he is hurt, hats off to him for delivering a hell of a performance on a bad leg. And if he's not hurt, hats off to him for a hell of a performance, making us all think that he got legitimately jacked up during the match.
Dude, I can't say enough good things about Damian Priest. Some people here, Joanna here in the YouTube chat saying he was limping out during the press conference. I'm curious if anybody, if you guys are watching.
If he's answering any questions.
If he's answering any questions in terms of like, is it bad? Was it? So Sis says that was not a plan. So he's not going to say he planned to do the spot or not. Yeah, I would be kind of surprised. What it seems, my gut says it wasn't planned, but when he got caught up, he realized that he's okay and just keep going. Because it looked like as soon as Drew saw it, he was about to bolt over there and brace him, and he communicated immediately, "I'm okay," and so Drew went with it. But you could still tell, like even in character, he kept on looking back to make sure that was the case. And okay, so they've asked him about it. He says he hasn't gone to medical yet. You would think that if it was bad,
if it was serious,
it was serious, like that's the first thing he would have done. I hope it's not. Dude, you and I have known for a long time that Punishment Martinez, going back to those days, Damian Priest is a hell. There was that period of time they brought in a couple of bigger dudes who could just go. Him, Dijak, Keith Lee. And it was like, oh, this is that new crop that they're big and they could do crazy shit in the ring. Priest was that tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And getting out of that spot and the rest of the match being about that leg, what can he do? And he hit a razor's edge, but it was as if he almost immediately regretted it. He was like, this didn't hit as hard because of the leg.
Yeah.
To incorporate that into his story for the remainder of the match, to the degree that it was like, oh, this is going to cost him.
Yeah.
Was awesome, because then it's like, how is he going to win with his one leg? Like, that's just one more thing that he's got going against him. And I honest to God hope that going forward there, it's a strong title win for him.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea, is Gunther going to win at SummerSlam? I don't know. Maybe it's the kind of thing where they want Priest, because up until now, the title run has been kind of not great. If they have a really compelling story for him going forward with this Liv Morgan stuff, with the Judgment Day stuff, maybe he holds on to it through guys like Gunther. I don't know. There's a million ways you can book it. I know you're not a fan of that.
No, I'm not saying I'm not a fan of that. I'm just saying Gunther ain't losing.
All right.
Don't think he's losing.
So yeah, I don't know how this is gonna move on for him. But yeah, a hell of a performance from Damian Priest. Just really great stuff.
Yeah. Hats off to him for sure. Let's talk about the one major surprise of the evening, and that's Jade and Bianca losing their women's tag championships. Alba Fire, Isla Dawn got the win. What does this mean for Jade and Bianca going forward? It's a situation here where they decided to have the win for Alba and Isla. So, a couple of Scots would get a win in Glasgow, and maybe they'll get the belts back on Jade and Bianca shortly. Or is this the start of something that's going to lead to Jade and Bianca starting a feud heading into SummerSlam? Which one do you think it is, Steve?
The former. I think that Jade versus Bianca is a WrestleMania match. I think that right now it's clear. This is what I hope, anyways. I think it's clear right now that they are in long game mode. There's a lot of money for Bianca and Jade to be in a match against each other. And I think there's so much more to be had. I've really enjoyed the women's tag division stuff since they've had the titles, because they have done something that they have ignored in the men's tag division on both brands, and that's just telling stories based on the dynamic of the characters. And you've got Bianca and Jade seemingly unbeatable. Well, tonight in a triple threat, hey, they don't have to get pinned in order to lose that, and we saw that.
Mm-hmm.
They're a relatively new team. I like that there's some vulnerability there when it comes to like their chemistry.
Punk is doing the press conference right now.
What's that?
Punk's at the press conference.
Oh gosh.
Does he have some muffins? Some sparkling water with him?
Yeah, right. But I do think, though, also just from a creative standpoint, Jade and Bianca, for that feud to really matter so much more.
Sorry, he brought donuts.
That's awesome. They need to have a whole journey together. That means winning and losing together. They can't just go into it. They just win. Well, they got to face some adversity as a team for their eventual split and feud to really mean more. And I hope that's what they do, if for no other reason than that, but also to keep creative energy on the women's tag division, because I like it right now.
Yeah, I know.
And it's something they need to do with the men as well, because I do not give two shits about that. I thought there was one spark of SmackDown. On SmackDown, they did a Waller effect where Gargano tried to appeal to Austin Theory based on their past.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, there's a spark of something. That's something. And hopefully they can run with it. But it's a division right now that's got some creative energy behind it, because Jade and Bianca are a big deal. So because of that, they have to put some creative energy behind it. And it's building up people like Shayna and Zoe, and now Alba and Isla.
Dawn,
So, I mean, I don't know what it means for how long their run is going to be necessarily. But, I hope it's not going to be just a 1 week run or a 2 week run or something. Maybe that's a match. They can get a couple of wins, and then Jade and Bianca can face them at SummerSlam. Maybe that's a deal they can do. But I hope that they really put some effort behind Alba and Isla too.
Same here. When they got called up with the NXT women's tag titles, and they had that unification match against Ronda and Shayna, and it was a formality who was going to win that one,
Mm-hmm.
And then they're off TV forever, Alba and Isla, and it's great to see them get the win. You're right. Hopefully this isn't just a 1 or 2 week thing. They're able to get a reign of decent length, get some successful defenses under their belts. So it's not simply a thing where, we had them win at Clash only to get them back on Jade and Bianca in like 2-3 weeks time,
Yeah.
So, and hopefully that's the mindset going forward. And whether I guess it should be SummerSlam then. That way Alba and Isla can maybe defend them at Money in the Bank, get a couple more defenses on SmackDown or on Raw, since they're cross-brand. And then if they're going to lose them back to Jade and Bianca, wait till SummerSlam. Tell a story there, because the star power of Bianca and Jade has put a spotlight on the women's tag title division.
It has.
And allowed them to tell some stories there, which during the history of the belts hasn't always been the case.
Right.
And you don't want to see that change.
Yeah.
And whether it's Jade and Bianca getting the belt somewhere down the line or or Isla and Alba, keeping them for a while. I don't want it to change. Every division should be given opportunities to tell interesting stories, and it's a bummer that in the men's tag division that is absolutely not happening.
I think it's hampered by the fact that they're split. I think,
Could be.
it's probably so much easier when you have a division with depth, like one division with depth, all chasing the same prize. I think that's probably it's probably just easier. I wish that they would kind of do the same thing with the men's titles, but I don't. That's not going to happen anytime soon because they just got new split titles.
I know.
But yeah, it seems like it's dividing their creative energies, and so the men's tag division is suffering from it, and hopefully they're able to turn that around. But yeah. Anyways, we'll talk about the rest of the show here in a moment. Larson, first, let's go ahead and pay some bills.
Let's do it. This episode of Going in Raw is sponsored by BetterHelp. Steve.
Yes.
Is this right? Is it really June already?
It's literally today is the middle of the year. Yeah.
Where is the year gone? We're already halfway through 2024. And, with life moving so fast, it's important to take the time to celebrate your wins and make the adjustments you need for the rest of the year. And therapy can help you track your progress, set goals for the rest of 2024 and beyond.
And if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. BetterHelp is completely online and designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited for your schedule. All you got to do to get started is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and then you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge.
I know I've spoken about it before, but back in my mid-20s, I was dealing with severe anxiety, and going to therapy allowed me to take a moment and learn the skills I needed to better cope with my anxiety and set me on the path to hopefully, I hope, becoming a better Larson. So take a moment. Visit betterhelp.com/raw today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw. And let's get a word from our sponsor, Liquid IV. Summer is basically here. And mine is looking to be jam-packed with activities. And of course, it's summer, so those activities are what? Outside in the heat. And as we know from playing basketball twice a week, Steve, this heat is no joke, which means summertime is also the time to prioritize hydration.
That's right. And with all the drinks out there, you want hydration that works. And Liquid IV delivers extraordinary hydration thanks to advanced science. Thanks to Live Hydra Science, one stick of Liquid IV delivers an optimized ratio of electrolytes, vitamins, and nutrients.
Yeah, I discovered firsthand that Liquid IV gives me superior hydration compared to water alone, especially when we're out there in the basketball court, Steve. I know you know this. I sweat a lot when we're out there playing. It takes a lot for me to throw windmill dunks in your face. I'm sweating all over the place.
It doesn't happen, man. That doesn't happen.
Sure it does. And not only is Liquid IV the ideal companion before, during, and after your workouts or when you're dunking on Steve, Liquid IV is a must-have if you're traveling, chilling poolside, or you're looking to hydrate after a night out.
We got to talk about the truth, Larson. Anyways, tear, pour, and live more, and turn your ordinary water into extraordinary hydration with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code RAW at checkout.
That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code RAW at liquidiv.com.
I just got some more Liquid IV so I can get back on that basketball court.
You try to block my dunks.
I mean, you don't have the hops, man. I'm not saying you can't. At some point with practice, what is it? Plyometrics or something? Where were you talking?
Plyometrics.
Yeah, plyometrics.
Yeah, I do that, and that's how I could dunk on you.
Keep on looking at those Instagram videos. Maybe you could do it one day. I'm just trying not to pass out from the heat out there. That's what I'm trying to do.
I'm trying not to pass out from me yamming on your face.
No yamming. No yamming.
Yes, yam.
Not on this face. Anyways. So yeah, also, Cody Rhodes threatened AJ Styles with Murther, and then Murthered him anyways. The I Quit match. I thought it was a really, really fun match. I'm glad that the WWE Universal Champ, it's not Universal, the Undisputed Championship opened the show to give the world title the main event. That was nice. And I thought it was a really cool match. What was your problem with it again?
I didn't think it was as good as then. I didn't think it was as good as their last one. Um,
Yeah.
it was still it was a solid bout. I didn't dislike it by any stretch of the imagination. I don't
You
know.
gonna give it better than the 3.25 Meltzer gave that triple threat at NXT.
I don't know.
Oh wow, we're gonna go low on this one.
Well, 3.25 is not a bad match. You're acting like I'm giving it 1.25. Oh, you
all
say
right.
3.25 is higher than 3.25. Yeah. I don't know. Something about the finish. I get it.
You thought
He was
AJ
handcuffed.
Styles could run away?
There
while
was
being
enough
handcuffed.
length on those handcuffs that he could have slipped under the bottom rope and got in the apron when Cody was charging with the ring steps. And if Cody slides out of the ring and throws the ring steps out there to try to hit him out there, guess what? AJ could slide back under and get back in the ring. Like, there was a way he could have avoided in the near term those ring steps. And even if you do that a couple times and AJ comes to the conclusion, I can't get away from this, then he hits them. Oh, you're milking the drama at that point. I just felt like they could have milked the drama of that a little bit more.
Fair enough. I kind of feel like I don't think there was a way to do that without being supremely awkward. And then the bitch would be, oh God, they're just really milking this thing. Why didn't they just do something much simpler?
I feel if anybody can make it as seamless as possible, it's AJ Styles, man.
Yeah.
That guy's body control is off the charts.
I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was like the general idea of Cody's going to do something fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was like, oh my God, he just out sinistered me. And so I got to give up. And then Cody looks at his mom and says, should I do this? And she says, yeah, do him. And then he does it. I thought it was cool. I thought it was a really, really fun match. I thought it was pretty rad. Not really shocking the outcome on this one. I think I had most of my confidence point. I think I put all my confidence points.
You did put
on
all
this
your
one.
confidence points.
So yeah, I thought it was a really solid match. I thought it was really good stuff.
But afterwards, Cody goes up the ramp celebrating by the Tron, and then Solo comes out clapping for him.
Join the Nightmare family.
I don't think that was the plan. So Cody realizes he's there, looks at him, and then Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa try to creep up on Cody. Cody senses them. Nonetheless, he gets laid out by Bloodline until Kevin Owens and Randall Keith Orton come out to make the save.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we're getting a six-man tag match on an episode of SmackDown between now and Money in the Bank. Or at Money in the Bank. If they don't
It might be at Money in the Bank, and it might lead to Solo versus Cody at SummerSlam.
I guess it depends if Solo's going to be in the ladder match, which is a possibility too, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, for Money in the Bank. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Also, as people have noted on Twitter, Randy Orton taking a long gaze at that Undisputed Championship when he was helping to prop up Cody Rhodes. So it's possible they're going to go in that direction as well. Maybe that'll be the match at Money in the Bank, or maybe that'll be the SummerSlam match. I don't know. But it seems like there are multiple components there that they could explore. But it does seem like perhaps leading into the fall, we both speculated on this, the return of Roman Reigns, or throw your L's up for the final boss, The Rock, heading into War Games in November. No matter how they sort of, reconfigure it to get to Rock versus Cody at WrestleMania, it seems like they're finally getting around to, now that Solo says we've got Cody right where we want him, it seems like finally they're going to go ahead and pull the trigger on that with Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and tall guy Tonga Hikuleu. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that all shakes out. It seems like they're going to start getting the motions for that.
Yeah. So you think it?
Is there any room for AJ Cody 3?
No. Not on pay-per-view. No.
You don't see AJ coming out and being like, he went too far. I only said I quit because I didn't want it, and then he did it anyways.
Yeah, sure, you could say that, but Cody's beat up twice. Maybe they'll have a normal match on SmackDown or something. No, I feel like especially with Solo, confronting Cody, that's them saying, "All right, we're moving on from AJ." Cody's feuding with the Bloodline again.
All right, well there you go, definitive. Anyways, you want to just go ahead and dive into the review?
Sure, let's get into it. Show kicked off with the I Quit match. AJ Styles taking on Cody Rhodes. This was a fun bout. Had no really issues with it. Even my issue with the finish isn't massive. It just being like, all right, well, it happened. I get it. I get the point.
Yeah, I'm not sure how the mechanics would have worked with him trying to escape though. I still don't understand that, but
Well, there's enough length on the chain of the handcuffs that you could have slipped on the bottom rope
yeah, I don't know about that.
easily. Easily. They needed shorter handcuffs. But then if they had shorter handcuffs, when Cody got his handcuffs behind his back, when the camera was on AJ, Cody couldn't have, put him around his legs, so he had him at the front so he could pick up the chair and throw it at AJ when he was trying to do the phenomenal forearm.
Yeah, I don't know about all that.
Anyways, so thankfully in the bag of handcuffs that AJ got from under the ring, there was also a key. So after Cody lays out AJ, as fortune would have it, the key is just right there on the mat, so he unhandcuffs himself and handcuffs AJ to the ropes. And so he's hitting him with the chair, and he picks up, and so Cody says, "Hey, ref, ask me if he wants to quit," and AJ says, "Screw you, Cody Rhodes."
Screw you, Cody Rhodes.
And so he hits a couple more shots with the chair, and then goes out to the floor, grabs the ring steps, throws him in the ring, and acts like he's gonna hit AJ with him. And AJ's like, "Oh no, I quit, I give up."
Yeah, it's too
Cody
much.
wins.
It's too
I get
much.
it.
And then he looks at Mama Rhodes.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, Mom, should I do this? She was like, smell blood in the water. Do
Well,
it.
because earlier AJ was down on the floor talking crap to Mama Rhodes. Mama Rhodes slapped him a couple times.
That's what we call a disproportionate response. Somebody's talking shit to you, and then you're like, yeah, use the steel steps on his handcuffed body. Go
Yeah.
ahead and do it. Gee whiz. That was a lot.
It was. Yeah, it was. It was violent. As mentioned, Cody's going up the ramp. Bloodline attack him. Randall Keith Orton, along with Kevin Owens, makes the save. They stand tall. We get a Jey Uso video package, and then we get the women's tag team title triple threat. Bianca and Jade taking on Shayna and Zoe, taking on Isla Dawn and Alba Fire. A lot is being made on social media. I already saw
Oh, dear.
about Jade slipping on the top rope when she's going for a springboard.
Nobody, I've never seen anybody in the history of wrestling slip on a springboard attempt. Larson.
What's interesting is seeing the reaction to Jade slipping versus Damian Priest also slipping and getting his foot caught in the rope.
God.
And of course,
It
for
hurts
one
just
clip,
thinking about that spot.
on the one clip, people are like, "Oh, botch."
Yeah.
And the other one, people are saying, "Oh, I hope they're okay." Take a guess which is which.
Yeah.
If you show me a pro wrestler who has done every move in their career perfectly, I don't think such a wrestler exists, because the nature of pro wrestling is that there's such a slim margin for error on so many moves.
Yeah, I know.
And these things happen.
Yep.
And hopefully Jade wasn't hurt or something during that, because it seemed like after that moment, the match was a little rockier than it was preceding it, because preceding that spot, it was really, really good.
Yeah, I thought it was really fun. Prior to that, she improv pretty well. Like she immediately went to forearm like Shayna or Isla or something like that. So she recovered pretty well. And then there was a sequence where it was bang, 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 and it got a little bit on the sloppy side. But people just like to nitpick, dude. They like to nitpick. They're looking for anything.
Yep.
She's under a microscope. They're looking for anything. But yeah. I thought the match was fine. I thought it was fun, and it had a shocking conclusion. They hit their finish on Bianca and Jade hit their finish on Shayna.
Yeah.
And go for the pin. Isla's able to throw, I think, Jade off, and then get the pin, steal the pin on Shayna. My heart goes out to Alba Fire.
Absolutely.
The mom recently passed away while visiting her, and it just sounds like a horrible thing she's been through. So yeah, I thought it was an awesome moment for her, being there in Glasgow to get that win. The match was fine.
Yeah, the match was really good. And after Alba and Isla get the win, they're down in the ringside area next to the barricade, and they had some family there, congratulated them. And you could the emotion was hitting Alba, and you could I'm sure it was a lot.
Yeah,
given
absolutely.
what just happened recently.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
surprising win, but couldn't be happier for Alba and Isla.
Yeah, and like we said earlier, man, I just hope that they continue the momentum that the women's tag division has right now.
Focus on telling stories. Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. So they get a really good pop when they win. And they get in the ring, celebrate. Then we have our Intercontinental title match. Chad Gable taking on Sami Zayn. Gable is joined by Maxine and Otis ringside, no Tozawa. And of course, Maxine and Otis played a role in the unfolding of the end of the match. It's matches like this where there's a story going into it, and one with a great deal of thought and effort put into it. That being the Alpha Academy stuff, and seeing the dynamics between all the parties involved and how they interact during the match. For me, that's pro wrestling at its best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's something other art forms just don't have in the same way.
Yeah.
And to see how various things lead to ultimately to Otis picking up Maxine and walking out on Chad Gable. It is without Otis necessarily turning on Chad Gable. It was pretty much just because he was about to hit Sammy at one point, and Maxine, who got her bad leg clipped by Chad Gable after Sammy escaped a ankle lock on the floor, she kind of gets to her feet a little bit and goes to Otis, "Don't do it. Don't hit Sammy.
Yeah.
Don't do it," as she's trying to stand up, and eventually leads to Otis picking her up and carrying her out. And Gable, yet again, even though he said he re-signed with the company, he could stick around WWE for a while longer, doesn't pick up the win. But then you see the look on Chad Gable's face after the match, and it was like a new level of anger.
Oh, he's
intensity.
broken. He's broken.
Yes.
He was twitchy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't seen that from Chad Gable before. So he confirmed that he's re-signed with the company in an interview. I think it was the Gorilla Position podcast.
Yeah.
And as part of that, he said, Triple H should promise, hey, I'm trying to get consistent stories for everybody on television. And he said that was nothing I've never heard before, but he's managed to get me there. And if you look at where Gable was 3-4 months ago and where he is now, it is clear that the thing that really I think Triple H is proving out is it's the stories that matter, not necessarily getting to hold the prop. I mean, I'm not saying that the title is meaningless, but the title is a prop for stories. It means something for motivation, for ambition, for character growth, and et cetera, et cetera. And so taking a big L like this means so much more for the development of his character and the advancement of his story than just getting the win. Same thing with Drew McIntyre.
Yep.
He's in a feud of the year. What does he care about holding a prop when he gets to be in a feud of the year?
Exactly.
And with Gable, the relationship between him, Maxine with the ankle, and Otis, who considers Chad Gable as the one guy who saw something good in him after he lost so much, and what it takes for him not to turn on him, but to say, listen, I can take this abuse and I'm okay with it to a degree, but you're not going to do that to her.
Mm-hmm.
And he picks her up and he just walks out and says, you're on your own right now. And I don't think this means they're gone from the Alpha Academy, but I don't know what it means. Come exactly. Monday, we'll find out, I guess.
Exactly.
But I think there's a lot more they can milk there. And then, for Gable to get back in, find himself in the corner and get hit with a haluva kick. And that look at the end, it's raising at another bar. It's raising at another level. This is another, at least in WWE for sure, feud of the year candidate because it's really good stuff.
It has been really good stuff. And you keep, you think about how Gable reacted to the loss today. Well, what's he been doing the last couple of weeks? Backstage, the background shots, talking to the Creeds, talking to Ivy Nile, potentially recruiting a new Alpha Academy to replace current Alpha Academy. So down towards the finish here, Gable nods to Otis. Otis goes and grabs the Intercontinental title and gives it to Maxine. So actually, Gable goes and picks it up first. And you're like, all right, he ain't winning then. Touch the title till you win, Chad.
Yeah, he was all over that thing.
He was. So Maxine has it, and Sammy's on the ropes. and Gable is distracting the ref, hoping Maxine hits him with the IC belt, and she actually brings it back to do it and stops. She can't do it, so Gable starts screaming at her. Sammy gets up, charges, looking to hit Chad with a haluva kick in the corner as he's yelling at Maxine. Gable gets out of the way, so Sammy stops, puts on the brakes, so he doesn't kick her off the apron. Gable hits him with Chaos Theory. Sammy kicks out there. Gable's upset, and again, he goes back to yelling at Maxine on the floor, and then Otis gets between them.
Yeah.
And starts backing Gable up.
Big pop, too. Big pop.
Yeah. So then Sammy's looking for a tope, and Gable pulls Otis in the way, so he eats it instead of himself. And then so Gable heads up for a moonsault as Sammy rolls in. Sammy moves, hits the exploder. He charges looking for the haluva kick. Gable rolls out of the ring. Sammy follows. This leads to Gable getting Sammy in the ankle lock on the floor. Sammy rolls through, and that sends Gable into Maxine, and his shoulder hits the back of the leg she has in the walking boot. So Otis sees what happens. And Gable's like, no, it was Sammy that did it. It was Sammy that did it. So Gable rolls in the ring and tells Otis to attack Sammy. Instead, this is when Otis brings his hand up, but he's about to strike him. Maxine gets up and tells him to stop. And so he goes over, helps her, carries her to the back. And of course, Gable's screaming at him. He just finds himself in the corner, turns around, haluva kicks. Sammy wins.
You can't be getting in the corner against Sami Zayn, man.
No, you're going to get a haluva kick.
Yeah, it's like with Sol Ruka. Can't find yourself near the ropes, man.
You're going to get a soul snatcher.
You're going to get so confused by what the hell? Ah! Get your soul snatched.
Soul was snatched, yep.
Terrific match. Really great match.
Mm-hmm.
Afterwards, we've got Kathy backstage with Isla and Alba. She's like, how does it feel? Alba says, it means so much. We said we were coming here to win, and we did. They had zero chance of beating us when we had all of Scotland behind us. Isla says, I think we'll be keeping these for a while. And then we've got Piper Niven versus Bailey.
Fun match where Chelsea Green managed to get herself tossed from ringside within like the first 3 minutes or something like that.
She is hilarious.
She
got
hilarious.
tossed in the first 3 minutes, but then another character showed up.
Chelsea Green in a lucha, in a Rey Mysterio mask.
Right, Chelsea Verde. And the reaction from Charles Robinson was great. He was like, everybody here knows who you are.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. So Bailey goes down the floor and takes out Chelsea. She's looking for a roast plant on Piper. I think this is the second time she tried it. Mm-hmm. Piper blocks, hits a Michinoku driver, gets a 2 there. Piper pulls Bailey over the corner, goes for a Vader bomb, but Bailey gets her knees up. So Bailey then charges Piper on the floor. Piper hits her with a boss man slam. Piper puts Bailey back in the ring. Piper looks for a running senton. Bailey avoids that. Looks for a rose plant again. Piper evades, hits a headbutt, and then Bailey hits a crucifix bomb to ultimately get the win.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good match.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
It was good. So then we have our main event. We have a band play Scotland the Brave in advance of Drew McIntyre's entrance. No Broken Dreams played in the arena for his entrance, although there was a video package that preceded the main event where I didn't hear it, but some people in chat were saying that it was like a slowed down version of just the vocals that was played.
Yeah. If I'm Drew McIntyre, number one, I think it's kind of obvious that Drew really likes his current theme song. I think he probably likes it much more than Broken Dreams. And he's probably like, God, I wish people would stop bugging me about that shit.
Although he in his promo at the press event yesterday, he dropped some lyrics from his theme.
Oh, did he?
For Broken Dreams, yeah. Yep.
I mean, Sheamus got Lobster Head back. Kind of shocked me if they wouldn't give Drew that back if he really wanted it. Maybe they have some like metrics to say, hey, look, you'll sell a lot more merch if you stay with this theme song.
I mean, they're just waiting for narratively the most impactful moment to do it.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Because this isn't the first time I feel like they've teased it either, you know?
Didn't he have Broken Dreams, the intro to the entrance at the last Clash? Or was that at Mania? What was that?
I don't
Because the last Clash was 2 years ago.
Yeah, in Wales, yeah. Yeah.
He had one of those. He had it during the like the intro entrance.
Yeah,
His
yeah,
entrance
yeah,
intro.
yeah. That sounds right. I feel like that's right.
But yeah, maybe if when he finally wins the title, if that's
All right,
going to be
Aussie
the
says it
long
was
game.
in his video package at the last Clash. So,
Okay, all right, makes sense.
all right. So we mentioned Priest getting caught in the ropes when doing the tope, and again, hats off to him. If he was hurt, hell of an effort. If he wasn't, hell of a sell job on Damian Priest's part. And hopefully we'll hear something soon, and hopefully be good news about the status of his leg. You know, there is stuff that Priest was doing that if he had a hurt leg must have sucked. The razor's edge, the choke slam, even doing the kicks, you know.
Oh
Because
yeah,
I would imagine if his leg was messed, he could not plant on the bad leg. But having to kick with the bad knee or something, awful.
Yeah,
Awful.
I agree.
So down towards the finish, Drew puts Priest through the barricade with the Claymore, puts him back in the ring. Drew's looking for another Claymore, but instead runs into a choke slam. Priest covers. Drew kicks out. Priest puts Drew up on the top rope, chops him a few times. Drew responds with some shots. Priest hits a Frankensteiner off the top, but then Drew responds with the Claymore, covers. Priest kicks out. So then Drew hits a belly-to-belly on Priest, some chops, looks for another belly-to-belly. Priest evades that, and they start back into the corner, and the ref has to kind of dive out of the ring to avoid getting caught up in all that.
Right.
And so he's kind of selling knee himself, gets back on the apron, and Priest gives Drew a bell clap, and then Drew gets sent into the ref on the apron. He goes flying into the barricade. So Priest hits a power bomb, goes for another house south of heaven. Drew avoids that, hits Claymore, covers, and we get like an 8 count before this new ref. Again, we don't see who it is. There's a long shot of Phil, CM Punk running in from behind him as he slides into the ring. And it isn't until we see Drew's reaction that we see that is CM Punk.
Yeah.
So Drew stares at Punk, and Punk just smiles back at him. So Drew backs him to the corner, and Punk kicks him right in the front area. And he more or less says, my job is done. He leaves the ring. Priest hits another choke slam. Ref gets back in the ring. Priest makes the cover and gets the win. So afterwards, Priest is standing against the barricade, and there's a couple fans there that were celebrating with CM Punk. Priest limps up the ramp, holds his belt up, and Drew is just seething in the ring. Seething.
There's on Twitter, Maggie has the link here in chat of Drew just like going ape shit afterwards, after the cameras are off. He's just fucking like pacing. He's like throwing the ref around, fucking choked out Corey Graves. Yeah, cursing up a storm. Yeesh. Pissed off. And then there's all sorts of shots of CM Punk just eating donuts. Wearing what is this, Celtics jacket?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yep.
Yeah. That's good stuff right there. God, and then everybody's replaying that leg bit. Oh my God.
Yeah, I know.
So hard.
Yeah.
So hard.
I know, that's rough. Hopefully he's all right. I hope he's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Absolutely. What a freaking champion right there.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so that's going to do it for our Clash at the Castle review. Want to say thanks to everybody for hanging out with us. If you haven't already, do us a solid, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the notify bell. Our next pay-per-view stream is going to be over there at AEW for Forbidden Door.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be going down, I believe, June 30th.
It's the last Sunday of June, I believe. Yes, the 30th. That is correct.
Okay, that makes sense.
Last Sunday of June.
2 Sundays from tomorrow.
Yes.
2 weeks from tomorrow. So, that's going to do it, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll see you guys around.
Goodbye.